Shalom. I want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Chakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, every will. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel. All right, Shalom. What I have here is some information, okay? And it's going into the 13 days of preparation, which is going into the sacrifices of Baal, or Molech, all right? So I want to go ahead and just get right into it. It says, I was trying to read this real quick, Shalaki. 13 days of preparation. April 19th is the first day of the 13-day satanic ritual relating to fire, the fire god, Baal or Molech, Nimrod, the sun god, also known as the Roman god. And we're not supposed to be worshiping the sun, the moon, or nothing like that, man. Okay, the Lord talked about worshiping the host of heaven. This is Deuteronomy 4:19, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven shouldst be driven to worship them and serve them, which the Lord Yahweh thy power hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven. Deuteronomy 17:3. And hath gone and served other gods and worshipped them, either the sun or moon or any of the hosts of heaven, which I have not commanded. So yeah, we're not supposed to be worshiping these different idols and things of that nature, man. Nevertheless, you have it here. I'm gonna keep reading. It says, also known as the Roman god Saturn, Satan / the devil. This day is a major human sacrifice day, demanding fire sacrifice with an emphasis on children. This day is one of the most important human sacrifice days, and as such has had some very important historic events occur on this day. Right now, matter of fact, now that we're speaking on this, there was an event that happened yesterday, okay, as in April 4th. April 19th, 2020, which is the first day of the preparations, the 13 days of preparation to
A man driving in a car disguised as a police cruiser after a shooting at a gas station resulted in multiple victims, including one police officer killed. The man later died from injuries sustained during the shooting. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police confirmed in tweets that Gabriel Wortman was apprehended after driving a vehicle disguised as an RCMP cruiser. Police sources later confirmed that Wortman had died to the AP.
Resulted in multiple victims, including one police officer killed. The man later died from injuries sustained during the shooting.
President Trump on Thursday blasted the Wall Street Journal for an editorial criticizing the daily White House press briefings, complaining that the news outlet failed to give proper attention to the number of viewers they attract. Quote, the Wall Street Journal always forgets to mention that the ratings for the White House press briefings are through the roof, Trump tweeted, referencing a New York Times piece that recently compared the number of viewers to Monday Night Football or The Bachelor. The president asserted that the briefings were the, quote, only way for me to escape the fake news and get my views across. Wall Street Journal is fake news, he continued.
One of his officers had been killed and another wounded in a shooting Sunday. Okay, so this was literally yesterday.
At least 10 people were killed, including the alleged gunman, after a shooting rampage in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia. Police in Nova Scotia arrested a man driving in a car disguised as a police cruiser after a shooting at a gas station resulted.
Pause that real quick. All right, but yeah, that's the point, so it's ironic how you had a multiple shooting in Canada, on the first day, man. Okay? On the first day, And the Lord told us that, and guess what? A part of this day of, or these 13 days when they're sacrificing to Molech or Baal, okay, it's this day is a major human sacrifice day, man. All right, with an emphasis on children, And the Lord spoke about us, not sacrificing to these idol gods and offering up our children, man. Okay? This is Leviticus 18:21. It says, and thou shalt not let any of thy seed, talking about your children, pass through the fire to Molech, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy power. I am the Lord Yahweh. Okay? I'm going to get another one. Go to Deuteronomy 18 and verse 10. I'll start actually at verse 9. Deuteronomy 18:9. When thou art come into the land which the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee, what land did he give us? He gave us the land of Canaan. The Lord told Abraham that he would give his seed the land of Canaan. Okay? Genesis 17:8, it says, and I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, from an everlasting possession, and I will be their power. Right, so remember that. The Lord gave us the land of Canaan. Deuteronomy 18:9, it says, when thou art come into the land which the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee, the land of Canaan, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations, talking about those different Canaanite nations. Like what? What are those abominations that they did? Verse 10, there shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch. Okay, so pass through the fire for what? Pass through the fire unto Molech, man. Okay, we're not supposed to be doing that. Neither were those heathen nations supposed to be doing that. Okay, that's exactly why the Lord drove them out of the land. It tells you about that in Deuteronomy, I believe it's Deuteronomy 9, where the Lord says, say not for your righteousness have I received this land. Let me get this real quick. Yep. Deuteronomy 9:3. Understand therefore this day that the Lord Yahweh thy power is he which goeth over before thee as a consuming fire. He shall destroy them. He shall bring them down before thy face. So shalt thou drive them out and destroy them quickly, as the Lord Yahweh has said unto thee. Verse 4. Speak not thou in thine heart after that the Lord Yahweh thy power hath cast them out of from before thee, saying, for my righteousness the Lord Yahweh hath brought me in to possess this land. But for the wickedness of these nations the Lord Yahweh doth drive them out from before thee. Okay? Not for thy righteousness or for the uprightness of thine heart doest thou go to possess their land, but for the wickedness of these nations the Lord Yahweh thy power doth drive them out from before thee, and that he may perform the word which the Lord Yahweh sware unto thy fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? Verse 6, understand therefore that the Lord Yahweh thy power hath given thee not this good land to possess it for thy righteousness, for thou art a stiff-necked people. Okay, right. So the Lord is saying you're not getting the land of Canaan or the land of Israel for your righteousness. You're getting it because these nations are wicked, that I'm driving out before you out of the land, as well as to perform my word to your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But as well, you have them devils in our land, okay, and they're partaking in these sacrifices, because who really does that type of stuff? These wicked elites, man. All right, and they go back to Amalek, and it also tells you in the book of Wisdom of Solomon about the abominations that the Hamites were doing, man. I can't think of the exact chapter off the top of my head, but let me see. I think this is Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon 14, and I'm just going to get this real quick. Wisdom of Solomon 14 and verse 23, it says, for whiles they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revelings of strange rites. Okay, right, and that's what these heathen nations are doing, including you wicked elites, man. Okay, like we're going into right now. They kept neither lives nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another treacherously, or grieved him by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without expectation blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulation, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumults, perjury, disquieting of good men, forgetfulness of good turns, defiling of souls, changing of kind, which is talking about transsexuals, disorder in marriages, adultery, and shameless uncleanliness. For the worshipping of idols, not to be named, is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all evil. For either they are mad when they be merry, or prophesy lies, or live unjustly, or else lightly forswear themselves. For insomuch as their trust is in idols, which have no life, though they swear falsely, yet they look not to be hurt. Howbeit for both causes shall they be justly punished, both because they thought not well of the Most High, giving heed unto idols, and also unjustly swore in deceit, despising holiness. For it is not the power of them by whom they swear, but it is the just vengeance of sinners that punisheth always the offense of the ungodly. Right. So the Lord is the one out here executing judgments. But that's where you go into Wisdom of Solomon 14 and went into what those heathen nations were doing, man. Okay, and that's what you elites are doing when you're partaking in these sacrifices, man. Okay, and it's ironic how this first day of the 13 days of preparation, quote unquote, you had 10 people killed in a shooting in Canada, man. You know, that's kind of ironic if you think about it. You know, and then as well, you had other days too that were basically around the same time frame. You had other days as well. Here's a few of them. It says, is it just some sort of weird accident, quote unquote, that the date they decided begins on a 13-day period of time, which is exceedingly significant for the worship of Baal? April 19th, May 1st, blood sacrifice to the beast, a most critical 13-day period. The fire sacrifice is required on April 19th. Here's a few days. It says April 19th, 1993, Waco massacre. April 19th, 1995, Oklahoma City bombing. Damn, 168 people killed. April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School massacre. All right. April 16th, 2007, Virginia Tech massacre. April 16th, 2013, Boston Marathon. All right. So, yeah, that's the point. You also had different, tribulations, if you will, that are around the same day. So it's crazy how they had one in 1993 and then had one on the same day, 1995. So they had to switch it up a little bit. So people weren't being so suspicious about it. Nevertheless, that's the point, though. Okay, so that's what you devils are doing. So hey, I just want to do a little response video. So brothers, be mindful of what's going on, man. But I also had a little bit of information that says this day is a very significant human sacrifice days, and as such has had some very important historic events occur on this day. And we just went over some of those historic events, man. All right. And like the elder brought out in his video, I want to bring this out as well. Just like how we have high holy days on the right hand side, they have days that they consider to be high and sacred for themselves, man. All right. Ecclesiasticus 33, starting at verse 7, it says, why doth one day excel another, when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun? By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished, and he altered seasons and feasts. Some of them hath he made high days and hallowed them, and some of them hath he made ordinary days. Right, like the Sabbath day is a high and hollow day. And then, the regular days throughout the week, that's an ordinary day. It says, and all men were created from the ground, and Adam was created of the earth. And much knowledge the Lord hath divided them, and made their ways diverse. Some of them hath he blessed and exalted, and some of them hath he sanctified. Some of them he sanctified and set near himself, but some of them hath he cursed and brought low and turned out of their places. As the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him to render to them as liketh him best. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and there are two and two, one against another. Right? So the Most High has a left-hand side and a right-hand side, man. Okay? And what these elites really are doing, they're really sacrificing to the left-hand side, man. Okay? They're really sacrificing to the left-hand side, because that's Esau's power, pretty much. Esau, he was born to be wicked. He is the wicked. When you read Genesis, the 4th chapter, the Lord was talking about Cain. Let's get that scripture real quick. Cain is Esau in the reincarnation, if you can receive it. All right. Genesis 4 and verse Genesis 4 and 7. It says, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? Right. If you're doing righteously, should you not be accepted? But why doesn't he do righteously? Because he was born to be wicked. It says, and if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Right. So if you're not doing righteously, guess what? You're sinning. Sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Meaning Esau was born to be wicked, and his desires is to be wicked, man. That's why the scripture say you cannot make a crooked thing straight, you know, because Esau was made crooked. The scriptures tell you in Habakkuk, second chapter, Slakia, Habakkuk, the second chapter and the third verse. Okay, it tells you what? Oh, Slakia, no, Habakkuk 2 and 4, Slakia. It tells you what? Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. He's crooked. He's not upright. Okay, but the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, talking about doctrines and philosophies. He is a proud man. Esau is very prideful. All right, and we're going to get into that in this lesson, Lord willing. It says, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Right, he doesn't keep at home. He tries to conquer all these different nations. Okay, because where's Esau's home? Originally, Mount Seir, you know? But now, look, he has military bases all around the world, man. Okay? It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell. This devil is never satisfied. He wants to conquer everything. And is as death, right? Spiritually, physically, mentally, Esau is as death, man. Okay? And that's what he promotes, death. All right? Like the 13 days of preparation. You know? What's that about? Death. And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Right? Going into his one world order. You know? Which we're on the rise of that as well. That's coming up soon, believe it or not, you know. But like I said, they like to sacrifice to these devils because that's really Esau's power. And I'll get a scripture for that. Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 16. It says, actually I'll start at verse Habakkuk 1 and 16, going straight to the point. Therefore they sacrifice unto their net. Their net is talking about their traps, but really they trap them up basically how? Through them demons, man. Through the spiritual demon Satan. Okay? It says, therefore they sacrifice unto their net and burn incense unto their drag. Okay? Burning incense meaning what? Offering sacrifices, man. And we're talking about the sacrifices that they're offering up to, like their child sacrifices, man, and their human sacrifices. Okay? It says, and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat and their meat is plenteous. Right? Esau's portion is fat. He was given the fatness of the earth. That was his blessing. You know, that was his blessing in Genesis. I believe that's what, Genesis 27. Isaac blessed him with the fatness of the earth. You know. But how did he get the fatness of the earth, man? Through wickedness, man. Okay? Through their drag, through their net. As we're reading about, man. So they're sacrificing to these different idols and these different devils, man. You know, let's get the scripture on that. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20. But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils and not to God. And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils. Okay, right. Okay, they sacrifice to devils, man. They don't sacrifice to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. Okay, let's get another one. Jeremiah 19 and verse 5. It says, they have built also the high places of Baal, to burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind. Okay? Now, this is talking about Israel, but this applies to Esau, man, because this is what Esau is doing. You know? And the Lord said that we are not to do as these other nations do. So, Esau, you over here claiming that, you know, God bless America, you're a God-fearing nation. All right? But then again, here you are doing sacrifices, man, to idol gods. Okay? You know, and this whole country is really based off of witchcraft, man. You know, that's why it tells you in the book of Nahum 3 and 4, it says what? Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts. Okay? You know, now this did apply to ancient Nineveh, you know, but hey, this also spiritually applies to Babylon, man. Woe to the bloody city, it is full of lies and robbery, the prey departeth not. Right, that's exactly what America has been built off of, bloodshed and iniquity, man. Like it tells you in the book of Habakkuk, 2 and 12, roughly paraphrasing, you know? Okay, and I want to get some other scriptures real quick, going into Esau and his witchcraft. Isaiah 47, and starting at verse 7, it says, "And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart, neither didst remember the latter end of it." Right, Esau, you, like it says Psalms 49:11, their houses, their inward thought is that their houses shall dwell forever to all generations, roughly paraphrasing. So you didn't think about the latter end of your judgments, man, because you thinking you're gonna rule forever, man. You know, that's why it says, "I shall be a lady forever." Therefore, hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures that dwellest carelessly. Right, Babylon dwells carelessly, man. All right, when shit hits the fan, what do these niggas do out here? They make memes, man. That's dwelling carelessly. That sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else besides me. Basically trying to say that you're God. You're the Most High. All right, because the Most High says that. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. All right, in 60 minutes, America is going to be destroyed. It tells you that in Revelation 18 and 9, roughly paraphrasing. The loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, going into witchcraft, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments. Okay? Right. So one day, in 60 minutes, this place is going to be destroyed. It's only going to take the Lord 1 hour. It took Esau a couple hundred years to build up his kingdom. It's only going to take the Lord 1 hour to throw it down. All right? What's that? Revelation 18 and verse, I'll start at verse 8. It says, I'll start at verse 7 because it's bouncing off perfectly with Isaiah 47. "How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow." Right, that's the pride of you devils, man. Verse 8, "Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, who judgeth her." Right, so your plagues are going to come in one day, man. All right, 60 minutes to be exact. It says, verse 9, "And the kings of the earth who have lived deliciously, and the kings of earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." Salaki, it was verse 10. All right, but it says in 1 hour your judgment is going to come, meaning this place is going to be destroyed in 1 hour. All right, Isaiah 47 and verse 9, it says, "But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood, they shall come upon thee in their perfection, for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thine enchantments." What's a part of their sorceries and enchantments, man? Okay, their Bohemian groves, which they sacrifice to that owl Molech. All right, and as well as the 13 days of preparation, man. With sacrifices to Baal or Molech, man. So it's all the same thing pretty much. Okay? You devils are going to get it from Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Okay? And we're going to read about it. Verse 10, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness." Right. Didn't we read earlier in Habakkuk 1 where they offer up sacrifices to their net? It said they trust in wickedness, man. "Thou hast said, none seeth me." Right. That's the pride of you devils, man. It tells you that in Psalm 64. Let's get that real quick. Psalm 64, you devils think that you are the wicked, you are the secret elite. The scriptures do say you are the secret counsel of the wicked. That's in Psalm 64, But that's why one of your main symbolisms is what? The owl, because the owl sees things in the dark. So your thing is seeing things in the dark, seeing through obscurity, basically being privy to certain secrets, which makes you think you're above everyone else. You know what I mean? But that's a part of their whole agenda, man, to do things in secret. Okay? Like what? The 13 days of preparation, they do that in secret, They're not out there putting it on CNN like, oh, look what we're doing for the 13 days of preparation sacrifice to Molech, you know, like how they do with their other folly, like Halloween, even though that's folly as well. You know, Halloween is just as wicked, all right? And when you actually go into the origins of Halloween, that actually goes back to human sacrifice as well, you know, and witchcraft, so on and so forth. But nevertheless, you know, what do they don't push it out there like that, you know? Anyways, Psalm 64 and verse 5, it says, they encourage themselves in the evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Right. You know, that's the point. You know what I mean? I'm going to go back to Isaiah 47. Okay. Isaiah 47 and verse 11. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know it from whence it arises. Right. And mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. God. You ain't going to be able to extinguish those missiles, man. All right. And all those other tribulations that the Lord is having coming upon you. All right. It says, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with thy multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Right, so the Lord is basically being funny with Esau. He's like, all right, yeah, you know, let me see what you got now with your witchcraft and stuff like that. What you gonna do now with your witchcraft? You know, verse 13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. The Lord is being funny. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. Right. So they're not going to be able to save you. Why? Because they can't save themselves. We're reading about it in verse 14. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. Whoo! That's what I just said, man. It's the spirit. All praise to Yahweh Shem Shai. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter. None shall save thee. Right, we just read in Revelation 18 how the merchant cities from afar off are going to see Babylon burning, and they're going to moan and basically bewail for her. Rough paraphrasing, you know. And matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, that might be in the book of Nahum. Yeah, yeah. Go back to Nahum 3 and 4. Because of the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcraft. Behold, I am against thee, witchcrafts. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will shew the nations thy nakedness, and the kingdoms thy shame. Right, Esau, you're being exposed right now as we speak during this lesson. All right, I will cast out abominable filth upon thee. I will make thee vile. I will set thee as a gazing stock. Right, and ultimately you're going to be a gazing stock when the missiles drop on you. All the nations are going to see you burning from afar off. Verse 7. And it shall come to pass that all they that look upon thee shall flee from thee, and say, Nineveh is laid waste. Who will bemoan her? When shall I seek comforters for thee? Right. Okay. Right. And like I said, this does apply to ancient Nineveh. Oh, call lame la Yahweh Shemel Shai. It's 144. But like I said, it does apply to ancient Nineveh, but it also applies to Babylon, man, spiritually. Okay. So the Lord is gonna get you devils for your witchcrafts and your enchantments, man. You know, you trusted in your wisdom and your wickedness, like it tells you in the book of Ezekiel. All right, Ezekiel 28. I'll start at verse 2. It says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. Right. So basically, now this does apply to the ancient Hamites of Tyre, you know, but spiritually it applies to Esau. Okay, and Esau is sacrificing to the same gods. You know, what a coincidence. Verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. Right. Esau is wiser than Daniel. You know. Okay, these devils, they go out and search a diligent search, man. You know what I mean? Esau knew we was Jake before we were Jake, before we knew. You know what I mean? So, hey, but verse 4, with thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten the riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Right. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding. Right. Talking about what? They're witchcrafts, man. You know? But what does scripture say? The wisdom of wickedness isn't wisdom, you know? Nor the counsel of the wicked prudence. Roughly paraphrasing. That's in the book of Sirach. Let me get that real quick. Yep, Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 19 and 22, it says, the knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, either at any time the counsel of sinners prudence. God, okay? Going back to Ezekiel 28. Ezekiel 28 and verse 4, with thy wisdom and with thine understanding hast thou gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures, right? And we read about that in Habakkuk 1 and 16, how they offer up incense to their net because their portion is fat, you know? Verse 5, by thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, traffic meaning business, hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. You know, heart being lifted up meaning pride. You know, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh power, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. They shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Right, and that actually happened to the ancient Hamites, but it's going to happen with Esau, man. Okay, these different nations are going to come against Esau as well, man. Okay, and they're going to shoot missiles at her, man. All right, it tells you in the book of Jeremiah, you know, for the other nations, for the archers to gather against Babylon. Roughly paraphrasing, Jeremiah 50 and 29, call together the archers against Babylon, all ye that bend the bow. All right, talking about the nuclear missiles. All right, it says, camp against it round about, let none thereof escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done, do unto her. For she hath been proud against the Lord Yahweh, against the Holy One of Israel. Right. We read about in Ezekiel 28 how their heart is lifted up. You know? Okay, and I want to get a few more scriptures. But I just want to, you know, touch on this because it was in my spirit to bring this out. But I saw that the elder brought it out, and I was like, hey, that's the spirit, you know? And it boosted me to make this lesson the way I did, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All honor and glory goes to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Psalms 106, starting at verse 34. Now, just to lay the record, this does apply to ancient Israel, or Slack. It does apply to Israel, all right, the Israelites. Okay, but in this sense, I'm saying spiritually, I'm using it with Esau, Edom, all right. Psalms 106 and 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning them whom the Lord Yahweh commanded them, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. And they served their idols, which were a snare unto them. Right, Esau? Okay, now this, like I said, this does apply to Israel. This is actually talking about Israel. But spiritually, it's talking about you, Esau, because this is what you're doing. And we're going to read verse 37. Yeah, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils. We read earlier how the sacrifices those sacrifices are not to pass through your son or daughter through the fire unto Molech, you know. We read about that in Leviticus 18 and Deuteronomy 18, you know. It says, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan. Woo! And remember, I told you to remember earlier, I said what? Remember the Lord said he was going to give us the land of Canaan. And we read in Deuteronomy 9, the Lord said what? I'm not giving you this land because of your righteousness. Matter of fact, I'm giving you this land because the people who are inhabiting this land are wicked. You know? And the Lord is saying, don't do after them. You know, and he said, I'm definitely not giving you this land for your righteousness because you are a stiff-necked people. The Lord said that. He said, I'm giving you this land to perform the oath that I swore unto your fathers and to drive out these nations out of the land who are practicing this wickedness, man. Like what? The sacrifices to idols, passing their sons and daughters through the fire, doing human sacrifices, so on and so forth, man. I'm reading this again. Psalms 106 and 38. It says, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto the idols of Canaan. Molech is an idol of Canaan, man. Molech is a Canaanite idol, man. Go back. It says what? The first day of the 13-day satanic ritual relating to the fire god Baal or Molech. All right. It says, I'm going to skip down. It says, this day is a major human sacrifice day demanding fire sacrifice with an emphasis on children. This day is one of the most important human sacrifices days. Salakia. All right. And like I said, man, Molech was a Canaanite god. Here it is. April 19th is also known as the Feast of Molech. Or, well, this says Moloch, but same shit. You know, and yes, it is shit. Okay? And if you're offended at me for calling it shit, then honestly, you know, you ain't shit. You know what I mean? But anyway, saying that with all humility. April 19th is also known as the Feast of Moloch. If you are not familiar with Moloch or Molech, it is an ancient Canaanite god that is repeatedly denounced in the Old Testament. Child sacrifice was a key feature of worship of Moloch, and a giant statue of this pagan deity is set up at the Bohemian Grove in Northern California every year. Okay? So we just read how Molech is a Canaanite god. All right, verse 39. Thus they were defiled with their own works and went a whoring with their own inventions. Therefore was the wrath of the Lord Yahweh kindled against his people, like I said, it applies to Israel, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance, and he gave them into the hand of the heathen, and they that hated them ruled over them. Right? Okay? But guess what? The Lord did the same thing to those heathen nations that were practicing the same stuff. We read that in Deuteronomy 9. Lord, I'll read it again, man. Let me just read it again. Okay? To make the point. So the heathen nations went through this, and Israel came into their stead. But guess what? Israel did the same thing the heathen were doing, and then the heathen nations came into their stead. Particularly who? You have Esau, Edom right now in the rulership seat, man. You have those devils in our land. Okay? You know? But guess what? The Lord said in Deuteronomy 30:7, he said what? I will put those curses I put upon you and put them upon your enemies, man. Deuteronomy 9 and verse 3. Understand therefore this day that the Lord Yahweh thy power is he which goeth over before thee as a consuming fire. He shall destroy them, and he shall bring them down before thy face. So shalt thou drive them out and destroy them quickly. As the Lord Yahweh hath said unto thee, speak not thou in thine heart after that the Lord Yahweh thy power hath cast them out from before thee, saying, for my righteousness the Lord Yahweh hath brought me in to possess this land. But for the wickedness of these nations the Lord Yahweh doth drive them out from before thee. Right? And what's spiritual about it is, what does it tell you in Psalms 50? It says Esau thought that the Most High was such a one as himself. You know, because the Most High kept silence, because the Most High was letting Esau put a foot up in Jake's ass, man, to repay back Jake for their wickedness. So guess what? Esau, you're doing wickedness that Israel has been doing. You know, you're sacrificing to these different idol gods. So guess what? The Lord is going to have to put a foot in your ass, man. Deuteronomy 30:7. The Lord said he's going to put the curses he put upon us upon our enemies. And you are a part of our enemies, man. Psalms 83 tells you the list of the nations that are our enemies. Guess who's the first nation on the list? Edom. Okay? And Amalek, you're on the list too, which you also are Edomites as well. All right? But like I said, Psalms 106 applies to Israel. But spiritually, it applies to Esau, because Esau doing the same thing. So what you think? The Most High is going to let you sit there and do it all the time? No. Okay? Matter of fact, let me get this. Jeremiah 49:12. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have assuredly drunken. Right. Israel was not meant to drink of the cup. Ultimately, Israel was meant to be made in the image of the Most High. But like it tells you in Wisdom of Solomon 2, it says, nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, right? You know, and they do hold of his side shall find it, roughly paraphrasing. You know, it's Wisdom of Solomon 2, starting at verse 23 to 24. So Israel ultimately wasn't, their judgment is not to drink of the cup. But guess what? The Lord said they are surely drunken. All right? Salakia. Why is that? Because the Lord is not a respecter of persons. Anyone can receive judgment. All right, I'm going to keep reading. It says, and art thou he that shall altogether go unpunished? Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it. Right, so the Lord is saying, Esau, listen, I judge my own people. Are you going to go unpunished? you're going to not go unpunished, but you're going to surely drink of that cup. That cup is talking about the cup of the Lord's judgment, man. All right. Verse 13, for I have sworn by myself, saith the Lord Yahweh. All right. And the Lord is not a man that he should lie. That Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Talking about America, man. All right. So, yeah, that's the point. I wanted to just touch on that. Lord's will, this video was edifying. I want to go ahead and give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Hakodash. Devil honors the elders and apostles, great millstone, every well, peace and blessing to elect Israel, Shalom, and a Baba Ball.